Hidden in a South African cliff face lies a mysterious cave containing humanity's oldest artwork and symbolic thinking, proving that our ancestors developed consciousness and creativity 100,000 years ago in ways that challenge everything we understand about human evolution. In a windswept cliff overlooking the Indian Ocean in South Africa, archaeologists discovered something that rewrites the story of human consciousness itself. Ancient symbols carved into red ochre that prove our ancestors were thinking symbolically 100,000 years ago, making them the first humans to leave evidence of abstract thought. Welcome back to African Folklore Archives, family. I'm grateful you're here because today we're diving into one of archaeology's most mysterious discoveries that fundamentally changes how we understand the birth of human creativity and consciousness. Before we explore this incredible mystery together, drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from and how the weather is treating you today. I love connecting with our community around the world. When most people think about the origins of human symbolic thinking, they point to European cave paintings from 40,000 years ago or Middle Eastern artifacts from similar periods. The conventional wisdom suggests that abstract thinking, artistic expression, and symbolic communication developed relatively recently in human history, emerging as our species spread out of Africa into other continents. But what if this entire timeline is completely wrong? What if the evidence of humanity's first symbolic thinking isn't found in European caves or Middle Eastern settlements, but right here in Africa, where our species first emerged? What if there's a cave in South Africa that contains proof our ancestors were creating symbolic art and abstract patterns 100,000 years ago? More than twice as old as anything found anywhere else in the world. In this video, I'm taking you inside Blombos Cave, a limestone cavern on South Africa's southern coast that has revolutionized our understanding of human consciousness and cognitive development. We'll explore the mysterious symbols carved into ancient ochre pieces, investigate the sophisticated tools and jewelry found alongside them, and uncover why this single cave site has forced scientists to completely rewrite the timeline of human behavioral evolution. By the end, you'll understand why Blombos Cave represents one of the most significant archaeological discoveries ever made on the African continent. The evidence is undeniable. Engraved ochre pieces with geometric patterns dating to 100,000 years ago, alongside shell beads, sophisticated bone tools, and evidence of systematic pigment processing that proves our African ancestors had developed fully modern human cognition tens of thousands of years before similar evidence appears anywhere else on Earth. The story begins in 1991 when Professor Christopher Henshilwood first excavated Blombos Cave as part of his doctoral thesis at the University of Cambridge. Located about 300 kilometers east of Cape Town on South Africa's southern coast, the cave initially appeared to be one of 9 typical later Stone Age sites he was studying. Originally coded as GSF-8, it wasn't until 1997 that the site was renamed Blombos Cave and became the focus of intensive Middle Stone Age research. But as Henshilwood's team dug deeper into the cave's 2.5 to 3 meter deep stratigraphic layers, they began uncovering artifacts that revolutionized our understanding of early human behavior. The Middle Stone Age levels, dating between 100,000 and 70,000 years ago, contained pieces of red ochre deliberately engraved with geometric patterns. They discovered over 70 tiny Nacerius crausianus shells that had been carefully pierced to create beads for personal ornamentation. Most remarkably, they found more than 30 sophisticated bone tools, including polished bone points and awls crafted with extraordinary skill. The most stunning discovery came in 2002 when the team announced in Science magazine the recovery of 2 finely engraved ochre pieces from the Still Bay units. These weren't random scratches. These were deliberate crosshatch designs combined with parallel incised lines that required abstract thinking and symbolic understanding to create. What topic baffles you most about ancient African discoveries? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll research it for a future video. Your curiosity drives the stories we explore together. When these ochre pieces underwent rigorous dating using multiple methods including optically stimulated luminescence, thermoluminescence, and uranium-thorium series dating, the results revolutionized archaeology. The engravings dated between 100,000 and 70,000 years ago, with the most famous pieces from the Still Bay units being approximately 73,000 to 75,000 years old. This made them definitively the oldest evidence of symbolic behavior ever discovered anywhere in the world. But the most groundbreaking discovery came in 2011, when archaeologists found a small rock fragment among excavated materials. After 7 years of extensive testing, researchers revealed that 9 red lines drawn on this rock fragment were created by an ochre crayon 73,000 years ago. This cross-hatching pattern represents the oldest known abstract rock drawing made by human hands anywhere in the world. As Henshilwood noted, the abrupt termination of all lines on the fragment edges indicates that the pattern originally extended over a larger surface. By 2009, 6 additional pieces of engraved ochre had been recovered from various Middle Stone Age layers spanning the entire 100,000 to 70,000 year sequence. The cave has yielded over 8,000 pieces of ochre-like material, with more than 1,500 pieces measuring 10 mm or longer showing clear use, where traces from intentional processing and modification. Even more remarkable was the 2008 discovery of a complete ochre processing workshop in the 100,000-year-old levels of Blombos Cave. The workshop consisted of 2 complete toolkits containing everything needed for sophisticated pigment production. Ochre, bone, charcoal, grindstones, and hammerstones formed composite toolkits designed to create liquefied pigment-rich mixtures that were stored in abalone shells. The workshop represents the first known instance of deliberate planning, production, and curation of a pigmented compound using containers for mixing and storage. The process required procuring raw materials from various sources, possibly using fire to extract fat from bone, following recipes to produce compounds, and using shell containers for future use. This level of technological complexity implies elementary chemistry knowledge and long-term planning abilities previously unknown for this time period. Like this video, comment, and subscribe to support this channel. Your subscription is tremendous support for me, and it means the world to me as African Folklore Archives is still growing, and every subscriber helps us reach more people who need to hear these powerful stories. The bone tools found at Blombos Cave were equally revolutionary. More than 30 formal bone tools have been recovered from the Still Bay units, including awls and carefully polished bone points. The awls, made primarily from long bone shaft fragments and shaped by scraping, were likely used to pierce soft materials like leather or to create holes in shell beads. The polished bone points represent particularly sophisticated craftsmanship. Besides being scraped into shape, they were carefully polished in the final production phase. Researchers question whether this polishing improved functionality or was applied primarily to enhance aesthetic quality, giving the tools added value as potential items in social exchange systems. Some researchers suggest these polished bone points may have been hafted as projectile points, representing some of the earliest evidence for composite tool technology. Additionally, a bone fragment marked with 8 parallel lines has been recovered from the Still Bay phase. Microscopic analysis shows these incisions don't resemble ordinary butchery marks, but represent a deliberately engraved pattern made with a stone tool, comparable to the geometric designs on the engraved ochre pieces. Perhaps most intriguingly, the cave revealed evidence of systematic hunting and gathering strategies that required complex planning and coordination. The animal remains show selective hunting of specific species based on seasonal availability, suggesting the inhabitants understood animal behavior patterns and planned their hunting activities accordingly. They were also systematically collecting marine resources, indicating sophisticated knowledge of tidal patterns and seasonal cycles. The combination of symbolic engravings, personal ornamentation, sophisticated tool technology, and complex subsistence strategies paints a picture of fully modern human behavior at Blombos Cave 100,000 years ago. These weren't primitive ancestors struggling to survive. These were cognitively modern humans with advanced cultural traditions, aesthetic sensibilities, and technological capabilities. The implications of these discoveries extend far beyond South Africa. Blombos Cave proves that the cognitive revolution that made us truly human didn't happen gradually as our species spread around the world. It happened in Africa, before we left the continent. The mental capabilities that allowed humans to develop language, art, religion, and complex technology were already fully developed in our African ancestors 100,000 years ago. This completely overturns previous theories about human cognitive development. Many scientists believed that behavioral modernity emerged around 40,000 to 50,000 years ago, as humans encountered new environments and challenges outside of Africa. The Blombos Cave evidence proves this timeline is wrong. Behavioral modernity is much older and emerged in Africa first. The mystery deepens when we consider what these symbols might have meant to their creators. The geometric patterns aren't random decorations. They follow consistent rules and appear to convey specific information. Some researchers suggest they might represent early forms of notation or communication systems. Others believe they could be territorial markers, clan symbols, or religious expressions. Comment below and let me know which part of this story intrigued you most. Was it discovering that symbolic thinking is 100,000 years old? The sophisticated pigment processing workshops our ancestors created? The mystery of what those geometric patterns actually meant? Or the way this single cave revolutionizes our understanding of human consciousness? Your thoughts help shape the stories we explore together. Recent analysis of the ochre engravings using advanced imaging techniques has revealed even more complexity. The patterns were created using multiple engraving episodes, suggesting they were revisited and modified over time. Some show evidence of being deliberately erased and re-engraved, indicating these weren't casual decorations but meaningful symbols that required maintenance and updating. The social implications of these discoveries are equally profound. Creating symbolic art, manufacturing personal ornaments, and maintaining complex tool traditions requires stable social groups with effective systems for transmitting knowledge across generations. The Blombos Cave evidence suggests that 100,000 years ago, our African ancestors had developed the social structures and cultural institutions necessary to support sophisticated behavioral traditions. The cave's location on the coast provided its inhabitants with access to diverse resources from both terrestrial and marine environments. This resource abundance may have provided the stability necessary for developing complex cultural traditions. When basic survival needs are met, human groups have the time and energy to invest in symbolic activities, technological innovation, and cultural development. The preservation of these materials at Blombos Cave was itself remarkable. The limestone cave environment provided ideal conditions for preserving organic materials that would have decayed at most other sites. Without this lucky combination of environmental conditions and human behavior, we might never have discovered evidence of such early symbolic thinking. The discovery of similar materials at other South African sites suggests that Blombos Cave wasn't unique, but part of a broader pattern of behavioral modernity that characterized human populations throughout the region 100,000 years ago. Sites like Pinnacle Point and Deepkloof Rock Shelter have yielded comparable evidence, indicating that symbolic thinking and sophisticated technology were widespread among our African ancestors. These discoveries force us to reconsider fundamental questions about what makes us human. The archaeological evidence from Blombos Cave suggests that the cognitive capabilities we consider uniquely human, symbolic thinking, artistic expression, technological innovation, and complex social organization, all emerged together in Africa 100,000 years ago as an integrated package of modern human behavior. The geometric engravings from Blombos Cave represent humanity's first known attempt to create permanent symbolic representations. These aren't just the oldest art in the world. They're evidence of the first human minds capable of thinking symbolically about abstract concepts and communicating those concepts through visual representation. The mystery of Blombos Cave continues to unfold as new analytical techniques reveal additional details about these ancient symbols and their creators. Each new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of human consciousness, and confirms that the story of human creativity and abstract thinking begins in Africa, with our ancestors who lived along the South African coast 100,000 years ago. The implications extend to how we understand human dispersal from Africa. When our ancestors left the continent and spread throughout the world, they carried with them cognitive capabilities and cultural traditions that had been developing in Africa for tens of thousands of years. The art, technology, and symbolic systems that characterize human cultures worldwide have their ultimate origins in discoveries like those preserved at Blombos Cave. Today, Blombos Cave stands as a testament to African innovation and the birthplace of human consciousness. The symbols carved into ochre 100,000 years ago represent the first glimmerings of the creative spark that would eventually produce all human art, literature, music, and symbolic expression. In this small cave on the South African coast, we can trace the origins of everything that makes us uniquely human. The story of Blombos Cave reminds us that Africa wasn't just the birthplace of our species. It was also the birthplace of human creativity, symbolic thinking, and cultural expression. Long before humans developed writing, built cities, or created formal art traditions, our African ancestors were already thinking symbolically, creating meaning through visual expression, and developing the cognitive capabilities that define human consciousness. If this exploration of humanity's creative origins has touched your spirit like it touched mine, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video. These discoveries prove that the human story begins in Africa, and our ancestors' innovations continue to shape who we are today. Their symbols speak across 100,000 years to remind us that creativity, consciousness, and the drive to create meaning through art are the oldest and most fundamental aspects of being human.